별빛이 내린다. 샤라랄라랄랄라. 샤라랄라랄랄라.
Hi YouTube. Well, here we are. This is it. NoFap day 40. Actually, it's day 38, but I don't plan to relapse tomorrow or Saturday. Tomorrow's gym day, practically a holy day for me. And then Saturday, I keep myself busy. I have a lot of things planned out. So, yeah, this is it. NoFap day 40. Well, let's talk about that. So, what is NoFap? NoFap is basically abstinence from PMO, which stands for porn, masturbation, and orgasm. Now, it's probably not that well known. Maybe you've heard about it if you heard about No Nut November, which I did hear about like 5 years ago, but I didn't think much of it. But yeah, I think probably some people know about it, but probably most people don't. Now, I did post a picture on my Instagram. It was like day 32 of NoFap. And I put that on Instagram and Facebook. And I just want to talk about the reactions up on there. Now, Instagram, from what I imagine, it's a very international platform. You know, it's very easy to connect with people all around the world, right? And Facebook is a lot more centralized. It's going to be more to where you're located. Yes, you can, I'm sure you can go international, but typically it's going to be centralized around your area. And on Instagram, I had a overwhelming positive reaction. A lot from India. I think the reason why is because India and China actually have very rich culture in regards to abstinence, and celibacy. They're very big on that. They've got meditation, breathing, yoga. It's all about it. So I'm not surprised. But yes, a lot of positive reaction from India. I got a positive reaction from a friend of mine. He's from Germany. And so, yeah, I think internationally, NoFap seems to be, pretty well understood and pretty well appreciated. Now, moving on to the Facebook, well, I'm an American, in case you can't tell. And most of the people on my friends list are going to be Western culture. And when I say Western culture, I'm talking about, it can be America, it can be Great Britain, it can be Australia, it can be Canada. We kind of have the same culture, same societal standards. And I think it's pretty obvious that Western society is very much hypersexualized, unfortunately. I think that's terrible. But yeah, I think, sex sells, but I think that we take it a little too far. And there's a lot of things that are sexualized that really don't need to be sexualized. The reaction on Facebook is it's either trolling, and it could be, or it's just negative. So I had two reactions. It was a sadness and a laughing. Now my friends, they're good friends. They're good people. They're not bad people, and they can be trolling. Like I said, they can be trolling. But if we assume that they're not trolling, then what can we infer? Well, we know that the sadness reaction would be, wow, that's sad. How could you deprive yourself of that? Or, wow, that's sad. I wish I could do that. And then the laughing could be, I guess just some kind of conformity, as in like, well, everybody says it's okay. The doctors say it's okay. The scientists say it's okay. Yeah, that's true. But if you're as old as a dinosaur like me, you'll remember that there were commercials on TV about scientists and doctors. And they would be like, yeah, this cigarette is no problem. It's good. It's the only cigarette I trust. And then come to find out later, they were just bought out by the tobacco industry. The tobacco industry had a bunch of money, and they just bought out the scientists and doctors and said, say this. And they did that. Okay? Now, I don't think that's conspiracy theory. I think that's fair. That happens with politicians, everybody. Everybody does that. So consider that porn is a multi-billion-dollar industry. They make billions of dollars. Okay, it's not really conspiracy theory that they can buy out doctors and scientists to say this, say that. It's not a big deal. You can't be addicted type of thing, right? Just to be fair, I think that is a fair statement, right? Now that we know some of the reactions we can get from a localized and international population, let's talk about the science. Now, the science we're going to talk about is neuroscience, and that is a settled science. I don't think anybody's going to put their reputation on the line and say that it's not real science. Neuroscience is real science. And neuroscience has to do with the study of the brain. We're going to talk about four things. It is dopamine, delta phos B, hypofrontality, and desensitization or tolerance, but you can pretty much guess what that is. Now, dopamine is a neurotransmitter. People mistake it as a pleasure hormone, but it's actually a wanting hormone. It's a seeking hormone, a searching out type of hormone. It makes you want to, it just makes you look for the next thing or the next best thing, I guess you could say. An example is you join the dojo, you learn a skill, and now you want the next skill, and then the next skill. Or you learn a form, and you want the next form, and then you master the martial art. And then what do? Well, you start a whole new martial art, and you start over again, and you learn all that stuff, right? Because you want to learn these things. That would be an example where dopamine is used in a healthy matter, right? Or it could be running. You ran a quarter mile, now you want the half mile, now you want the mile, now you want the 2 miles. You're always seeking out, you're wanting the next thing, the next challenge, I guess you could say, right? Those are examples where dopamine is used in a healthy, correct setting. Now, one thing about dopamine is that the amount you get differs greatly. And unfortunately, the greatest dopamine hits you get are from food and sex. Granted, that's kind of the most important thing. So that's what your body considers to be the most important thing. You could learn 100 martial arts. It'll never give you as much dopamine as eating when you're starving or having sex, right? It'll never be the same, right? So the problem there is that you'll see, along with the other three components, it's going to be a big problem. The second component we want to talk about is delta phos B. Delta phos B is a protein, and your body does make this naturally, and it serves one purpose. It actually makes you binge. It makes you binge out. Now, the reason why your body would want to do this is one situation for sure, and I guess technically the second situation. The first situation is food, right? Keep in mind that a refrigerator and a house and all this stuff, these are all new things, right? Evolution-wise, our caveman ancestors couldn't expect that, right? They just knew, hey, we killed an animal, we got a lot of food, we need to eat it all, because if we don't eat it all, it'll spoil, right? And so delta phos B will help you with that, and it's like, yep, you ate all the food, and now you're fat, and that's okay, because it's going to last you for the winter. And then you do that every winter, and you'll survive, right? Now, another example would be reproduction. Now, if you think about it, to be fair, right? If you think about it, the greatest knight, Viking, samurai, the greatest warriors in the world still died at 50 years old. Now, that's mostly because of modern medicine, right? The technological advance in modern medicine, we can live to 70 and 80 if you take care of yourself. Obviously, you can do really bad with it, doesn't matter. But typically, you can get to 70 and 80. But our DNA doesn't know that, right? It only knows from what our ancestors lived to be. And it's like, yeah, if you're a warrior, you'll only live till 50. So, hey, we don't got a lot of time before we got to reproduce. We got to have kids, or else our line will be extinct, right? And so delta phos B helps you with that as well. Maybe there's an opportunity to mate. Granted, back then it probably would have been the strongest male. So if you weren't strong, then obviously you didn't get to mate, right? You didn't get to reproduce. Unless like you just stumbled upon a harem and they all lost their husbands or something, then okay, there you go. You can reproduce and have kids now, right? So that's an example of delta phos B. That's its purpose. It's a mechanism to make you binge for, of course, obviously the two most important purposes in life, which would be food and reproduction. Now, the third thing is hypofrontality, and this is actually your willpower. This is your discipline. This is something to where something is bad for you, and then you don't do it, right? An example is, so I used to, not anymore, but I used to be on a diet, right? Mostly chicken and vegetables every damn day. But sometimes my stepmom will call my stepbrother, he's 9 years old, and be like, hey, what do you want to eat? And then sometimes, just randomly, he'll just be like, I want fried chicken. Now, I don't know if it's an Asian thing, but of course my parents are going to buy way too much fried chicken, way more for the family so that you could, eat it for days. And then, of course, the question is going to be, well, Matt, don't you want some too? There's plenty here, Matt. You should eat with us too. Like, oh my God, Yeah, I do want to eat too. I shouldn't, but yes, I do, right? That's hypofrontality. It's an executive function to where you make a decision. It's like a long-term gratification decision rather than a short-term gratification decision. Finally, we have to talk about desensitization or tolerance. Now, this is pretty obvious. I knew this when I was still on caffeine. I got off caffeine, then I would drink a chocolate milk, and then I thought it'd be okay, right? I thought it'd be okay with just that every day, and I couldn't. The next day I was like, wow, I'm tired. I need another chocolate milk. That's what tolerance is. Basically, your body gets used to the first hit, and you'll never get the first hit again. You'll try, yeah, you'll try, but it just won't happen, you know. And that can be with anything, any drug, and I'd say it's pretty much the same with porn as well. Now, as far as linking all four of these things, how did these four things link together? So basically, when you watch porn, when you PMO, right, you get the biggest dopamine rush. Okay, and remember, you're never going to get a rush like that again, but you're going to try, right? So you watch something, or we'll just say normal stuff, right? But then it gets weird, right? There's weird stuff out there. You're going to find out that your tolerance increases, right? As you get hit with these surges of dopamine over and over again, your dopamine receptors are going to retreat. And what does that mean? It means that you have a way less chance to get the satisfaction you had the first time. So of course, your tolerance is increasing, and you're flooding yourself with dopamine, but you're not able to get the same hit, right? And the cycle of PMO also weakens your hypofrontality, which strengthens your cravings, okay? So that's why when you try this, right, if you watch porn with any regularity, if you try this, you're gonna see that you're going to have cravings, withdrawals, you're gonna fail. When dopamine receptors retreat, that's gonna be a problem, because that's the only thing that's stopping you from overconsumption. It's weakening your executive function, and this is occurring because of delta phos B, because your body just goes, oh, this is a rare mating opportunity, right? It's not, but your body thinks it is, so it's just going to keep giving you that dopamine rush, and it's going to keep telling you, yeah, you need to reproduce, even though obviously that's not what you're doing. Now, I'm sure somebody's going to try to hit me with that, well, isn't there a healthy amount, or it's not a problem for somebody? Well, if you want to think of it like that, okay, I'll agree with you in this condition. Considering that delta phos B in terms of reproduction is only for a rare mating opportunity, which once in a lifetime, you'll never see it, okay, that means you watch porn one time in your whole life and that's it, okay? And don't cheat by having spicy pictures of genders or reading erotic literature. That counts, okay? It counts. Because you are changing the way your brain is thinking. If you can do that once in a lifetime, you watch porn and never again, then yeah, I guess you're correct. That would be the healthy amount. Once in your life and never again. Now with the science out of the way, let's talk about subjective experience. Everyone's experience is incredibly subjective, and it's going to be different from everyone else, but I guess that's what most people are here for. Well, to start with, when did I watch porn and how often? Well, I think I was in college, first year. That's the first time I saw porn. I was 20 years old, and it was because I was with acquaintances. I'm not good at making friends, but I was around acquaintances, and somebody said, yeah, everybody watches porn. You're weird if you don't. Like, oh, yeah, totally. I guess I know what I have to do now. So yeah, I was like, oh, I don't want to be the weirdo. I have to watch porn, right? So then I watched one, and I was like, okay, that's okay. The lady's not really my kind of lady, doesn't really have the kind of body I like. But of course, you're gonna get recommended videos, and so I keep looking and finding, oh, this lady kind of looks like what I'm looking for, and that just cycle goes on and on. In regards to PMO, I think probably for me it was once every 6 days. Once every 7 days would have been really rare, but I think generally it was definitely once every 6 days. And that's what I did for 12 years until I was 32 years old. I just woke up one day, March 1st, 2021, and I thought,
silence, wench. I do not wish to be horny anymore. I just want to be happy.
Now, everyone has a different reason for wanting to stop watching porn. Sometimes it can be sexual performance, not in my case, but for me, it was mostly time. Now, my case is not that bad, I guess you would say, because I still had a life, kind of. I still went to the gym, I still practiced martial arts, I still went to work, everything was, I still did stuff. I just lost 4, 5, 6 hours watching porn every day. So for me, it was mostly the time, trying to get the time back. That was the most important for me, especially with YouTube. Even though this channel is a failure, I wanted to make one. I wanted to make a YouTube 6 years ago. But as you can imagine, PMO definitely interfered with that, made it very difficult to find time for it, much less motivation. I think most people know that, you're kind of incredibly lethargic and unmotivated after PMO. Now, in regards to streaks, I think I've had like the first streak was 12 days. Then I had like a lot of mini streaks because it was hard to get back on track. And then after that, I was able to get like, I think 10, 15, 28. And of course, this time is 40. So, in regards to the first streak, I guess the question is, why did I fail? Well, so on the 12th day, right, I was at work. And apparently the elevators were not working. I work at a bank. Elevators weren't working, and I think somebody got stuck. Somebody got stuck in the elevator, and nobody knew about it. Now the reason why it was, I guess, assumed to be my fault is because the properties just felt like I should know everything that happens in the building, despite the fact that they added on a lot of things. They added on this temp scanner that I had to sit on my ass and make sure scan everybody trying to come in. And then also, I had to get all the mail. It was kind of, they already added too much to do anyways. But, as you can imagine, I missed that. I'm going to miss something, right, if you make me do a lot of stuff. And I guess the guy stuck in the elevator, he called the number in the elevator for, like, security. But, bad luck is that our company got bought out by a different company. And, of course, they disconnected the phone because they want to use their own phone, And so I didn't hear about it. I didn't hear anything. So I have no idea when the guy was discovered or how long he'd been in the elevator, but I'm guessing the properties were really mad because when they, talked to me about, oh, the elevator guy's here, like, yeah, the elevator was broken. Did you know that? And I was like, no, no, I didn't know that. I was like, no. I mean, to be honest here, like, geez, they don't really, the clients, they're not very good. Okay, like, they don't tell us a lot of things. I'm always hearing about things after they've been implemented for like a week. And they'd be like, hey, did you know this? No, I didn't. You have to tell me or else I'm not going to know. But anyways, yeah. So you get my point, right? I got yelled at for something that I'm pretty sure definitely wasn't my fault. And at the time, it didn't really bother me. I was like, yeah, this lady's crazy. I don't care, So I went home. And I went to sleep at 8. I tried to go to sleep at 8. Then it was 10, and then midnight, and then 2, and then 3 a.m. And I was awake the whole time, and I thought, oh no, what the hell am I gonna do? Because I have to drive 35 minutes to work, And, when you don't get any sleep, that's incredibly dangerous, not just for me, but for other people on the highway. So I called my company, and I was like, hey, I don't think I can come into work today. And they're like, well, why? Because I have a perfect record, so obviously it looks weird if I can't go to work one day. I was like, yeah, I don't know why. I just, I couldn't go to sleep, and I've been laying in bed since 8 p.m. And she's like, oh, okay, well, don't worry about it. Oh, okay, I won't worry about it then. I thought they were going to take care of it, right? So I'm laying in bed trying to go to sleep. Didn't happen. And it's like 4:30 a.m. And I was like, I'm going to call a night guard and be like, hey, did our company, are they going to send somebody to do my shift? And he's like, no, I didn't hear anything. Oh my God. I mean, security is kind of like, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a bad job, but it's definitely not, they just don't get their stuff together. I guess the lady was like, not my problem, who cares? So I was like, oh, listen, bro, I'm not coming to work today. I haven't slept at all. I don't think I'm coming to work today. It's dangerous, if I'm being on the highway with no sleep for other people. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah. And of course he had to ask me. He's like, why? Because he knows that too. I have a perfect record, so it makes no sense that I one day out of like 5 months, like, oh, you can't go to work. I was like, yeah, I think it's because the assistant manager yelled at me, and I didn't think it was a big deal, but then I was laying in bed, and then the hours passed by, and I was like, yeah, I think it was a big deal. So he's like, yeah, it's okay, that's fine, just try to get some sleep. I'm like, okay. So I tried to go to sleep, and I didn't go to sleep till about 8 a.m. Then I finally fell asleep. Well, no, I woke up at 8 a.m. I think I slept at like 5, so I only got 3 hours of sleep. But, at that point, I kind of woke up, my whole schedule's screwed up, I didn't want to do my healthy living, my walking. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. I just woke up late, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't want to do anything. And then for some reason, I was just like, I guess I'll watch porn. I was, yeah, why not? I don't have anything to do. And it was only like a minute 20, but you know how that stuff works. It's like, oh, it's only a minute 20. Well, I already seen a minute 20. I might as well see 3 minutes. Well, I might as well see 5 minutes. I might as well watch the whole thing. And that's pretty much when that relapse happened. And that really messed me up because at that point, I always had just little streaks, just 4, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, all the way until like April 22nd. 22nd. That's when I was able to just get back on track, and I was able to get streaks of 10, 15, 28, and then of course now 40. And I want to say something because I know a lot of people on the NoFap Reddit, they're really hard on themselves. They're like, I failed a 1-day streak, a 2-day streak, a 3-day streak. Guys, I went through that already, okay? I went through that through the whole of March 13th, right? That's all that it was. It was just 1, 2, 3 streaks all day, all week. It was just like that, okay? I think the fact that I went from that to picking myself up and then going 10, 15, 20, and 40, I think that just shows that no matter how small the streak is, whether it's 1 or 2 days, it adds up, right? It adds up. Your hyperfrontality isn't as weak as it was before, and then you're able to resist. So I was resisting to 10, 15, 28, and now hopefully forever, right? So don't beat yourself up if you only get a 1-day streak or a 2-day streak. It's honestly better than what you were doing before, right? It is. It's better than what you were doing before. So if you give it time and trust the process, I'm sure it's going to work out just fine. Now going back to the 12-day streak, I want to say some of the things that I noticed subjectively is that sunlight was incredibly beautiful. I don't know why, but it just seemed like I woke up or something. It was like I'm living a dull life, and then the sunlight comes in, and I'm like, damn, that's a really pretty sunlight. And what's even crazy is that I felt that before. It was in college, There was a time when I couldn't PMO because I was like doing too much schoolwork, so I couldn't watch porn. And then one time, the sunlight came into my room, and I was like, wow, the sunlight is incredibly beautiful. That is absolutely insane. I didn't understand it. Now, I haven't found anything like that in the NoFap Reddit. I swear I'm not on drugs, but I'm just saying, man, the sunlight is crazy beautiful. Not anymore, though. On the 40-day streak, I don't really care about the sun anymore. But when I started, man, it was pretty dang pretty. Now, for the 12-day streak, we're going to talk about something a little bit controversial. It's magnetism or attraction. Now, in my case, I'm going to say it wasn't that, and I'll tell you why. I'm a super shy person. I really don't like to... I like to introduce myself to strangers, but I'm just not good at it. I don't have the skill for it, And so everybody at my work is going to know me as the quiet security guard. That's what it was. And as the NoFap days continued, I did find myself to be a little bit more extroverted. I'm still an introvert, but a lot more extroverted, and I would make jokes, and I'm actually pretty dang funny now that I think about it. And so, people are going to gravitate towards that. So in my case, I really don't think it's as much attraction magnetism as it is just, the shy guy's not so shy anymore. So the first example is we get new employees that started our bank. Sometimes they hit me with 10, 15, 20 employees. Oh, they've done that before. But anyways, so I got to make them badges, whatever. They come in, they train, are they going to stay on type of thing. So there's a lady there, and, at first day, it was like, hey, I need this. Okay, here you go. That's it. Nobody really cares about security that much. And then maybe like the 8th day of NoFap, she came in and she was like, hey, do you guys do escorts, like security escorts to like their car and stuff? And I was like, yeah, that's in our post orders. Just tell us, like, hey, please escort us to our car. And I'd be like, okay, I'll go. And then like, okay, can you escort me from my car to my car? Like, yep, let's go. Like that's what I'm paid to do. I was like, yeah, we can do that. And she was like, yeah, because she's really worried because she got to testify against this guy who's a murderer, I think. And she was really worried about that, some kind of witness protection. And I was like, yo, that sounds really heavy. Like security is not really like, we're not really good for that. Not only do we not have a gun, but like we cannot arrest people. I cannot tell you to stay where you are. I can get in trouble for that. So like, I think you need to talk to a real cop. I think they can give you a better help than I can. Um, but yeah, that's what you talked about. I mean, that was a super open thing to talk about. I don't know. I don't think anybody really thinks of security is that useful, but yeah, I was like, okay, sure, yeah, just you know, make sure you talk to a law enforcement officer. And then after that, I never heard anything about that again. But every time she would come in, because I gotta say good morning to you, I get paid to do that, right? You know, when she said good morning, or she came in, or she left, she came back. Because sometimes people smoke and get food to eat. She would always give me like a particular look. Now I don't know what to call it, but it's a look like, I don't know. It was like an alluring look, like looking at you, right? I can't do it, but it's like she could, I don't know. She like made her look like really meaningful or something, or really inviting. I guess that's the way I would call it. My ex girlfriend never looked at me like that. I don't know what that was. I was like, oh, okay, and she would do it every time. Okay, and look, like people look at me all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I can tell if it's just a normal look, but the way this lady looked was just, it was not a normal look as far as I could tell. And that went on until she started to work from home because our bank will just send people to work home for a couple of months and come back, and I don't know, but yeah, I haven't seen her since. Maybe she'll still do that. I don't know. Now, another example is a nurse. We have a nurse at our bank, and sometimes it's different, but sometimes the same. In this case, it was kind of the same lady, and this was the day after I relapsed. So like the 13th day, right? Well, day zero, I guess. And she was just ridiculously helpful. Like if I had to go pick the mail, if I had to go do this, I had to go do that, she'd always be like, oh yeah, I'll watch this for you. Oh, okay. You're not paid to do that, but okay. You can do that, I guess. Not a big deal to me. And yeah, she was just really friendly. And then we even like had a conversation, like, like before I was about to leave, and she was just talking about her life, like, oh yeah, she works at the hospital and she has this crazy shift. And here's the crazy thing, okay? I'm so bad at talking to people. I've memorized things to say because I don't know what to say. Okay, I'd be like, oh, ask this and then see what happens, right? But when I was talking to this girl, I didn't have to do that. I was literally just like, we could just flow conversation, no problem. Now I'm not saying that's because of NoFap, but I'm just saying I know myself and I know how much I suck at talking. And so I just thought that was really interesting after, a first attempted streak of NoFap, that I didn't have to pre-record thoughts or questions. I could just talk to her, no problem. Now, granted, as I said, this was a bad time and I was having, relapses here and there everywhere. And honestly, after that, she never talked to me again. And then I didn't see her again. So I guess she went back to the hospital. Now, another example is there's a guy I work with. He's our printer guy. So he kind of fixes all the printers in the bank, make sure it's, it's good to go, it's working and stuff like that. And I acknowledged him. I was like, oh, hello, normal stuff. And one day he just came in and he was like, oh, do you need paper on the printer? And I was like, yep, that printer needs paper, all right. So he's like, okay. So he changes the printer and he's telling me about his life and his parents and his life goals. Should he retire? Things like that, because he's getting pretty close to retirement. He's just very open about, everything about himself. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I mean, I don't know. Is that an extrovert thing? You guys just like, you just pour your heart out to people? I don't know. I don't know if that's a NoFap thing, but like, yeah, I'm just the fact that like our relationship before was professional. Hi, good morning, bye, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's my life story. Like, oh, okay, oh, wow, it's a little heavy, but okay, I'm all right with that. Another thing I noticed on my first streak was the voice. So typically I basically have to yell if I want people to hear me. And in fact, I'll even just like get real close to you so I don't have to yell. But I just noticed maybe like day 7 or 8 is that I didn't have to try as hard. It's like I could project my voice without trying, right? There are even times when I had to go, do 100 things, and I would tell the nurse, "Hey, I'm gonna go get this. Can you watch the dishes for me?" And I could do it. I could do it. I could say no problem. There was no anxiety. I was just like, yeah, help me out here, So I don't know if that's a NoFap thing, but I just noticed that my voice, I don't have to try as hard to be heard or to be loud. Now, one thing I noticed, and I haven't gotten back, but I hope I do someday, is that gym performance. I actually was able to get a 145 barbell OHP. Now, it wasn't the first NoFap streak, it was probably like the third or the fourth, and I just noticed that when I was doing bench press, it was too easy. And so I go to barbell OHP, and I'm like, okay, what's this like? And that was too easy too. I usually stop at 125, that's my limit, but I was like, I feel pretty good, let me try 145. I did 145, and it wasn't easy, but it was good. I did it, and I was like, dang, all right, this new strength, right? But as I said, after various relapses in the future, I've never been able to get 145 barbell OHP back. I'm still stuck at 125. Heck, these days 125 is pretty heavy for me too. But I did change my workout program, so that might be the reason. Also, with my most recent workouts, I've noticed is that it's not like when I work out and I'm like dead. When you're like dead, you're like, I can't do anything. When I work out now, it's like the muscle is done. Like I used up all the energy and that's it. I can't do anything else. It's like I'm still alive. I'm still good. It's just that the muscle is done. I used it to its max capacity. And I used to feel that certainly in the fapping days where I would go to the gym and be like, yep, I'm dead. I feel terrible. I don't want to keep doing this. Now there was one specific instance I remember. It was right after a relapse. So before, when I was talking to people, if you talk to me, I'd look at you. I'd look at you or your eyes. It was no problem, right? But after relapse, I noticed one of the nurses came in, and I automatically looked at her chest. I don't know. I just automatically looked at her chest, and I was like, oh, that's weird, Matthew. Don't do that. I was like, you should probably look at the person. And I was like, dang. So I think the objectification thing is a real thing, for any gender, any race. I think that, pornography is obviously it's a clear, concise thing. It's about the sex only and objectification, and that's what you're going to do. And I'm just letting you know, like, hey, during one of my relapses, yes, I did notice before when I could talk to people and look at them, I would automatically look at their parts instead. So something for you to keep in mind. Now, something that happened that I'm not really sure if I can attribute this is what I call the NoFap flu. So I actually got sick for 20 days. It started on June 9th. At first, I thought it wasn't a big deal. I thought it was a normal flu because my stepbrother had it too. And he has a wonderful habit of never closing his mouth when he coughs or sneezes. And so I figured, okay, he's sick. He gave it to me. Fine. 5 days later, he's good. And I'm like, hey, what are you feeling better? He's like, yeah, I feel better. Oh, why the hell am I not feeling better? I was like, I'm still sick, and then 5 days turns into 10 days to 15 days, 16, 17 days. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I'm doing a search here on Reddit, right? And some people do say, yeah, they got some kind of flu, something, I don't know. It wasn't bad. It was just a stuffy nose and a cough. Stuffy nose, cough, throat pain, just that. It wasn't terrible, but it's just annoying when you go through that for 20 days. And that's the thing to think about too, is like, wait, so if my brain is like, how dare you not give me porn? Let me make you sick. It's like, I had no desire to watch porn though. When I was sick, I had no desire to watch porn.
Gotcha, bitch!
So I think you Looney Tuned yourself. I think my brain Looney Tuned itself. Now continuing on with this streak and the 28th streak before that, I did notice that I went to the bar. I went to the bar with a friend of mine. He wanted to go on a Saturday, I think, and I'm their DD. I'm their designated driver. It's like, okay, yeah, because I don't drink. I was like, all right, so we went there, and it was okay. I didn't want to drink. I just don't drink. And they're dancing. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not really a dance. Well, I like dancing, but I like coordinated dancing. I don't like freestyle dancing. So, anyways, this lady comes in with her boyfriend, and I'm saying that because I make that assumption because they were dancing erotically together. So I'm gonna say that's probably her boyfriend, right? And so whatever, it gets to like 12 a.m. and the bars close like 2. So then it's like okay, 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. And then that girl, right? She just grabs me and wants to dance with me. And if it was a normal dance, I'd be like, okay, but it wasn't. It was the erotic kind. And I was like, excuse me, I know you came here with your boyfriend, and I'm not looking to die tonight. I'm not looking to get killed tonight, you know? And I was like, oh no, 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 no. Oh, okay, all right, that's fine. She like did her thing. I'm like, okay, thank you. Have a nice night. Oh man. Again, I don't really believe in the magnetism thing, but I just thought like, yeah, I think she probably had enough to drink. So one thing I like to do is on this streak is I like to like stare into people's eyes. It's not an intimidating thing. It's just I like the reaction. I like the reactions I get from people. Because you can stare into people's eyes. When you're fapping, you're fapping and you relapse, you can't look into somebody's eyes. Like I can't do it, But now, after the 28-day streak and this 41, I can look into people's eyes and it doesn't bother me at all. Typically, the reactions from guys are mostly looking away. Some don't though. You're the real heroes. But I also really like the reactions I get from girls. So like, so I was at Casey's, right? And I was gonna get coconut juice. I know exactly where it is. Like I gotta get my coconut juice. And I was going there, and then the lady was there already. I was like, oh okay. Well, I have to wait, right? Because she's there first. And then she just like looked at me, and I looked at her, and our eyes connected for like 3 seconds. And then she backed up, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'll get the coconut juice then. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. It's just like, like, are you gonna get something? Because I want to get something. Now another example was Slim Chickens. I go to Slim Chickens every Friday because it's awesome. And there was the girl there, and she kind of had a look of like going through the motions. And I know that feeling, darling. I know that feeling. I used to work at McDonald's. I get that too, right? And yeah, she's just going through the motions. Like, yeah, it's like 9:46. I'm like, okay, here you go. And then I'm like looking at her, and then her eyes met mine, and then she just immediately shied away. I don't know. It's cute. I think it's cute. I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. I don't know. I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable, but I just thought that was hilarious, and I thought it was kind of cute too. Now another one was I was at Walmart. I was at Walmart, and I was gonna get some pasta and some pasta sauce because I am sick of chicken and vegetables. So I went there, and I was like, okay, where is it? Oh, here it is. Here's the pasta. I'm looking at the signs. They got signs in the Walmart. I'm like, here, I need to go here. So I turn in there, and then there's a lady, there's a Walmart lady, a worker there. And as I'm walking towards, I'm like, oh wow, she's pretty. She's pretty. Yeah. Oh hey, you're pretty. And yes, and then I don't know, she had this reaction where like it's like she sensed something. Like she was like, and then she like looked up and looked at me, and then we like looked at each other for like 5 seconds. And then she like smiled and then looked down, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I know. I should have said something. I've had a very bad life. I've had a very bad life. A lot of bullying. So I just I have a hard time to believe that somebody could actually like me for me. So yeah, but no, you're right. I should have said something. I still kick myself every day for not. Oh, and another example. I was at Sicky's. It's kind of like a bar place, I guess. And I went there 2 times. First, it was me and my buddy. We were going to see the movie Fast 9, I think. Fast and Furious 9. And yeah, so we're like, okay, let's get some food. And so we're talking, and then there's a lady, a redhead lady. And I just kind of looked over. I was like, oh yeah. And she looked at me, I looked at her, and she looked away. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, she's pretty too. But then I was like looking, I was like, hey, she's there with like an elderly guy, an elderly woman. That's probably her parents.
It's a trap!
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, a no-go. And then another time I was at Sicky's again, and it was with my older brother. My older brother and my friend, and we were gonna see the movie, Black Widow. We were gonna see the movie Black Widow. And there was this table in front, like over, like in the distance, right? Because I'm sitting here, I'm facing here, this table over there. And there's like an elderly guy, an elderly woman, a lady and a guy. And I was like, okay, so I'm talking to my friend, I'm talking to my older brother, we're talking about like movies and stuff like that. And then I noticed that like she would look over, like she's facing like, so if you're in front of me, she's over there. She has to turn a lot to look this way. You know what I mean? And she would do it like 2 or 3 times. And I wasn't sure if she was looking at me or not, because I don't know. I didn't want to be weird, so I was like, okay, she can do what she wants to do, I guess. And then one time I looked over, and then I think that's her parents. Her mom looked at me too, like, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" So yeah, I just thought it was kind of weird. Like, yeah, you really have to turn, like where she's sitting. She really has to turn to like look this way, you know. So, I mean, I wouldn't blame her. This is me we're talking about. So, anyways. Another thing I noticed on this streak is that people are way more attractive. I don't know why. They're just really pretty. You know, I go to Slim Chickens. I saw the lady there. I'm like, dang, she's pretty today. I mean, she was probably pretty all the time, but like, I don't know. You just seem pretty today. And then same thing at Shields. I'm trying to get fair priced ammo at Shields, and you can't. And yeah, I was like, oh, I didn't find any ammo. I was gonna leave. And so the lady's like, oh, bye. Have a nice day. I'm like, okay, bye. So then I actually look at her and be like, damn, she looks good too. Now that's not really surprising. As you can imagine, pornography is a video production thing. And so of course it's all about the video, it's all about the people in there, the genders looking, you know, as good as possible. So of course you watch a lot of it, you get used to that, and you think that's normal. So then you see a normal person and you're like, no, that's not amazing. But yeah, I don't know, maybe you guys might have noticed that, but I just thought, wow, people are just attractive, you know. People are just hella beautiful. Also recently I go into the bars with my friends, Kyle and Kevin. Yeah, it was Kevin. Yeah, we went to the bar one time and he was like, yeah man, we should just like talk to girls. I was like, okay. I'm a little bit picky, I guess, but like, yeah, I'll talk to girls. I wasn't scared. Like, I would have been scared like 10 years ago, but now I was like, yeah, I'll talk to a girl. You know, I'm a little bit picky though. So I'm trying to look for a girl that kind of fits my style, you know, kind of what I like. And so finally one comes by, I'm like, oh, she looks like what I like. Oh, I like her outfit too. I was going to say, hey, I like your outfit. And she just completely walked past me. Just completely ignored me like, oh. But then like 2 seconds later, I was like, I don't care. And I think that's a big deal, you know, like it's pretty, isn't it normal where like people get rejected and you're like, oh, I'll just bury my sadness in porn. But here, I wasn't. I didn't have any urge to watch porn. I was like, okay, whatever. She wants to ignore me. She can ignore me. That's her right. I don't care. You know, there's tons of women out there. It doesn't really mean anything to me, right? Another thing I've noticed is motivation. So typically, I really don't do anything, but I've noticed that I've kind of filled up my schedule. So I've added like 2-mile walks every day except Thursday and Friday, because Thursday's rest day and Friday's gym day. Getting up at 5 a.m. Even when I don't work, I still get up at 5 a.m. You know, kind of make a consistent schedule. I added back my daily stretching, which I never used to do for a long time. Yeah, just more energy, more motivation to just add things, you know, fill up the day rather than just like not do anything. Because if you don't do anything, you know, you're going to be like, oh, well, might as well watch porn, right? Yeah. So it's a very good idea to just keep yourself busy. Try to add as many things as you can so that porn doesn't even cross your mind. I've also noticed higher memory. My memory's gotten really good, and also just brain processing. There was a time I was at the, I was scanning people, right? And this guy comes in and he's like, which one? And the scanner, we have a short one and we have a tall one, right? And I know that the short one's on my left and the tall one's on my right. And so when he asked me, which one do I go to? Because he goes to the short one. I said, my left, your right. Now, that doesn't sound impressive, but let me tell you, for me, that's pretty damn impressive. It's like before he even formulated the question, I already knew, oh, you're going to ask me about the scanners. You fit the short scanner. It's over here. So if you're going to ask me, I'm going to tell you it's my left, but it's your right. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I thought it was a little badass. Also, I've downloaded like a lot of puzzle games, jigsaw puzzles, Sudoku, things like that. And what I've noticed is that, typically I would get frustrated with these things and then quit, right? But now when I look at a puzzle and I go, okay, well, it can be this piece or it can be that piece. It has this color, it has this shape. Like I actually care to know what it could be. Same thing with Sudoku. So with Sudoku, you can do, as I got into like the harder modes, normal, hard, really hard, they actually show you other skills. They show you other tips that I didn't even think about before. There's like the center of every box cannot be it cannot be the same number. I never thought about that. And I can tell you, I definitely wouldn't have been interested in that until 10 years ago. But it's like when I'm wrong in Sudoku, I want to know why. Now, sometimes it's a fault of the system, because there was a time where like they told me, oh, this number's wrong. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, it's not. It's I didn't double dip. It can be this number. I think the system just automatically says, hey, we know this is wrong, but we cannot. But we can't find a way to show you that it's wrong, basically. But that's what I've noticed is with puzzle games, I'm not lazy about it. Like I want to know if I'm wrong. I want you to know why I'm wrong, so I'm not wrong again. I don't make the same mistake. Now, another thing you'll see on the NoFap Reddit is skin and hair. In my case, I think I don't think it was NoFap. It might be, but honestly, my skin and hair was already getting really good because of cold showers. I've been taking cold showers for a long time now, and I already told you guys my skin and hair was really nice. So I think for me, it was mostly that. If NoFap helped it, could be a little bit, I don't know, but can't say it's enough of a difference to make a difference. I attribute my skin and hair still to cold showers. Now also there's kind of like a tan skin. Actually on my first NoFap streak, I could have sworn I was orange. Thankfully not anymore, but I tend to be more tan, maybe red. But again, I think that's because of the daily 2-mile walks. So I don't think NoFap had anything to do with that. Now some people also report like kind of annoyance or getting angry, and I was super annoyed one time, and when I think about it, it seems so stupid. So basically our scanners, right? We have temp scanners at our bank, and you come in, you stand and you get scanned, right? And when you stay in the green, it's going to flash and it's going to tell you the result. Okay, you don't know yet. It's going to tell you the result. Are you green? Are you red? Are you COVID? It's going to tell you it, okay? So this lady comes in, she stands, she gets scanned. It blinks, it's thinking, and then she immediately starts walking away. And I got super annoyed. I'm like, hey, hey, what are you doing? You haven't seen the result yet. You don't know. You don't even know. Why are you walking away? I don't know why I was annoyed about that. Let me tell you, I'm not paid enough to care, and I really don't care. But for some reason, the fact that she would walk away without even knowing the result, you don't even know the result, and you think you can just walk away? Like, I don't know why. It was really like upsetting to me. I wasn't angry, but I was like really annoyed and upset. Like who does that? Like who does that? Now, social anxiety, I would say that I definitely had that to the max ever since I was a kid. And I wouldn't say my social anxiety is gone, but it's a lot better. So let me give you a couple of examples. Another time I went to the bar with a friend of mine, same friend. We were going into the bar, and then there was like a casino section, I guess. You could like gamble. And there was a guy there, and he liked my Spider-Man shirt, and he was like, oh, hey, come here. Now, let me tell you, if I was still who I was before, I would have been like, you're drunk, you're weird, I'm getting out of here. But for some reason, I was like, yeah, I'll talk to him. Yeah, why not? Why not? It's okay, I'll talk to him, And he's telling me, oh, he had a bad day, and he lost $1,000 at the slots. And I was like, oh, come on, man. You got to stop at 500. Those slots, the chance that you have of winning, there's a microchip in there, and they make it even lower than that. It's like, you don't need to be doing that, bro, and we vibed pretty well, it was no problem. And I mean, I just know if I was still had social anxiety, I wouldn't have gone up and talked to that guy. Another example is that same night I was getting pretty tired. I'm 32 years old, okay, I'm tired. And I didn't want to dance anymore. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go outside, get some air, and sit down. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go outside, get some air, and sit down. So I go out there and I sit on the curb, and then this guy and two girls are like, no, don't sit over there, sit with us. Now listen, back in my social anxiety days, I definitely would have been like, no, you're drunk, you're weird, I'm not doing it. But here I was like, yeah, okay. Okay, why not? Yeah, I'll come sit with you guys, you know? And yes, they were drunk, but you know, it was all right. I wasn't scared to come talk to them, and you know, eventually they decided to just go get a drink. But I was like, hey, I'm pretty proud of myself. You know, that's kind of a big leap for me. Okay, that's a big leap for me to just not be scared of people and be like, yeah, why not? Go ahead, go talk to people. Now that might be a NoFap thing or not a NoFap thing, but I tell you, if I was still fapping, I would be too scared to talk to anybody. Now the question of flatline comes up. Did I experience flatline? Unless it happened the exact time I had the NoFap flu, I don't think so. I don't think I really experienced flatline at all, including the previous streaks and then this streak. I don't think so. Because flatline is supposed to be like you're emotionally depressed and you're unmotivated and you have no libido. I was like, no, pipes are still working, and no, I wasn't depressed or slow. Now maybe I'll get it later down the line. It's different for everybody, of course, but at this moment, I don't think I experienced flatline. Not enough of a significance for me to be aware of. Now, another thing is testosterone. There's a testosterone boost that occurs in 7 days if you don't ejaculate, and it's like a 45% increase, 145% increase in testosterone. After that, it does level off, but what happens is that your androgen receptors, there's more of them, okay? And what androgen does is that it takes testosterone and it makes better use of it. You know, muscle gain, fat loss, things like that. And much to my dismay, it seemed to have gone to my facial hair. Because usually I would only have to shave maybe like every 6 days. Now I gotta shave every 3 days because the facial hair is coming back too fast. Like, really? Really, testosterone? You're gonna go to my facial hair. You're not gonna go to my muscles. You're not gonna go to my bicep. Whoa! Next one's gonna cost you. But no, it's like, dang, really? Why would it go to why would testosterone go to like the wrong stuff? It doesn't go to the stuff we want. Fat loss? Hell, I'll take fat loss. I'll take that over facial hair. Damn. Oh, also considering that I used to be 143 last year. That was my competition weight, but it was like, you know, I couldn't get heavier than that. And now I'm actually 152. I actually weigh 152. Granted, it's some fat and it's not competition weight, but with the fat off, I'd probably be 149. So there seems to be some weight gain. I would hope is muscle, but who knows these days. Now, social skills, I would say definitely did increase, but I don't know. Lately, I don't really notice my social skill increasing. It really was on the first few streaks. I was really getting the hang of how to talk to humans, but then recently it's like, if I don't want to talk to you, I'll just be like, eh. Like, oh, okay. You know, I was like, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really notice an increase in social skills anymore. Maybe I've kind of leveled off now, but it depends. Now, another thing that can occur is that people will have wet dreams again. Now, the last time I had a wet dream, I was 13 years old, and then never again. Throughout this whole NoFap streak, I haven't had a wet dream. Now, it's supposed to happen, and it's supposed to mean that you're healing and things like that, but yeah, I don't think I had one. I did have a dream that I relapsed, and I woke up, I was like, oh thank God I didn't relapse. That's all I care about. I think NoFap might possibly affect your posture, because I was at the bar one time with my friend, and I was leaving the restroom, and you know, when you walk past people, because there's a lot of people at the bar, you know, you turn, you know, you turn side to side, let people pass, and that was fine. I did that, but then there was this guy who I guess we both didn't turn as much as we needed to, and so then we actually hit each other's shoulders, and we looked back, and then we went on. There was no fight, thank God, but I just wonder about that. I was like, Do you think when you were fapping that like when you had to move, you like really moved, but then now you really don't care as much, and so I don't really move as much. I move for you like that, but I don't really move that much. I wonder if that has anything to do with NoFap. Well, if you stayed around this long, that is incredibly impressive. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was my experience on 40 days of NoFap. I'll probably do another update, maybe like 100 days, I think. And then after that, I'll just go by hundreds. So 200, 300, 400, hoping I don't relapse, of course. Yeah, I think this is a good idea for you. That's my subjective experience. I talked about the science, and the science is settled science. So even if you don't believe me, and that's okay, at least believe the science. That was my experience with NoFap. I look forward to the next the next 100 days. I look forward to the day I die. That's what I would like. I would like to keep this going forever. Now, as far as the positive and the benefits, were they clear to me? I think so. Compared to who I was before, absolutely. I think there was a lot of changes that I am very much fond of. I like, and I have really no desire to go back to the way I was before. So if this video helped you guys, or you have any questions, you can comment here or message me on Instagram. Other than that, you guys take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.